on 3, Alvin. This brand new series just dropped on Netflix called Franklin, and this series it is from Lebanon. And in this series, this series has very interesting story about this counterfeit artist. Like he does a really good job counterfeiting money. And this show starts with we see he's trying to counterfeit this $100 bill for a very long time. He's been working on it, how to counterfeit it, and he's really been doing a lot of research for it. But we see in this show when he had really a breakthrough finally about it, like how can he make this, but his formula gets stolen by his ex-girlfriend in the show. Basically she runs with the formula, and he basically never hears from her, and the show when basically she just leave with it, he need to figure out how to get that formula back from her. So in the show we also see that he is this single dad. He has this daughter. Also, he has this very sick father who need very expensive treatment, and he's trying to pay for the treatment. So he need to really get this gig done. So he's been working on this gig for a long time. But he need this formula from that girl. So basically he need to track her down again. So in the show we also see there is a side story about, this girl, she's stealing this jewelry, and police are after her, and a bunch of the side story is going on with her. And the show basically goes between these two side story about her and him, and how everything comes together at the end. That is what the show is about. So I must say, when I read the story for the show, I was really excited to see this. I was like, wow, this sounds really, really very interesting. So this show has 6 episodes, and the way this show starts with, I was like really excited. So what do I think about overall this show? So I feel like the show story is interesting. However, the way this show was made, when you watch it, you are just as the audience, you are just lost, because what I really like the lead actor. I feel like he did a really good job bringing the audience into the story. As the audience, you really feel engaged watching him. Every time this guy, he's working on the counterfeit, how to make the money, and how he's working on his stuff. Every time this show focuses on that, this show was really interesting. It was really interesting. But every time this show, when it goes back to the side story about this woman, this woman is really, she is very con artist type. She's trying to steal money and everything. Every time, also all this gangster is after her. So, there's this story is just piling up with her. So every time this show focuses on her side story, honestly, I personally didn't like. I was just not that interested. I'm really not that interested about this side gangster story. Really dragged down the show for the audience. Especially, it was very generic. You have seen this kind of story before. Gangster is after you, the police after you. It's not that interesting. But every time the show was about the lead actor, he's working on the counterfeit. And also I really like his struggle with his father. It's actually very good. And his relationship with his father is very emotional. His relationship with his daughter is also very good. So every time the show was focusing on that, I really liked. But the way this show is made, it's not going to be everyone. Especially the show's music is really bad. Why such a high music for this? You cannot hear what they're saying. You're like, what? So the dubbing is not that good. So I don't know how the original language is, but the way it was made, some of these dialogues are also not that good. I was really, really frustrated watching this. I was like, what? Especially the music, the music mixing for this show is really bad, very distracting. However, also the way the show made the story is also very puzzle, as the audience, you don't like, very messy. When you watch it, you're like, too much. However, this show is actually not, it's a very mixed show. Like there is just so much good to it, but also there's so much bad. Like it's really a mixed watch it was for me, because I did like some of the action scene it has. It's especially this actress, she's actually very pretty but also very tough in this show. She was doing some good stunt in this. I was like, whoa, she's really good in this. And also she's very cunning. So both of these actors are really good in this show. I feel like this show really had a lot of potential, but overall, unfortunately, the storytelling was really very messy. It wasn't very good. As an audience, you feel very frustrated. However, overall, this show, it isn't that bad, I will say. It's just a mix. Like as I keep saying, this isn't a perfect watch. Way it was made, it was really very wasted potential here, because I feel like they could have done a lot good here. Especially all the actors were really good. Characters are interesting. Their backstory is interesting. All the even side characters are interesting. However, how all come together is not. And you're just like, what? You feel frustrated. So overall, I thought the show was just mixed, and that's my thought on this. Let me know in the comment, what do you think about this series? If you enjoyed this review, don't forget other reviews on other show. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe. Until I see you next time, please take care.